What's up, you guys? Happy Thursday! Alright, so I was on yesterday and I'm back on today. I don't know why the light in this room is so weird, but all of a sudden my wall looks green. So, I'm going to be honest, this video is somewhat confronting, but it's something that I feel like really needs to be shared. So I'm going to tell you guys a story about us and at the gym and stuff that's been going on over the last 2-ish years. Okay, so we'll back up. So we opened Surge 9.5 years ago. Our goal was community and connection, and we just knew that like we had been in Globo gyms where people didn't talk to each other and there just wasn't any like connection. And so when we opened the gym, it was kind of on a whim. Brandon and I had known each other for 4 months when we signed the lease to open the gym. By the time it opened in May, we'd been together like 6 months, but we didn't really know each other. We didn't really know what we were doing. We just knew that we had a passion for helping people. So the gym expanded. So we opened in May of 2010. Gym expanded in September of 2012. We got married in September of 2012, had some babies, expanded again in 2014, and then in 2016, the building got sold. Okay. So we were in a great scenario where we had never done any marketing. We'd never had to do advertising because we had a single owner, like handshake guy. It was awesome. We were doing what we loved. We were helping people. We were focused on performance and what your body could do and not what your body looked like. And like, it was great, right? Like, was it hard? Yeah. Like, did we live in my brother's basement and his dad's basement and whatever to like get the business going? We totally did. But we were doing what we loved and we were doing it from a place of service. So, when the gym got sold, we went from them being, our rent was fairly reasonable from 2010. In that time, hey lady, in that time, the marijuana industry in Colorado went crazy. So price of industrial space from 2010 to 2016, like a bajillion times different. So when our building got sold, and we didn't know what was going to happen, they were like, oh yeah, well, if you want to keep your space, we had about 8,000 square feet, rent was going to triple. And we were like, okay, well, like we're surviving and we're making it and we love what we do and we're helping people, but like there's no way that's going to happen. So we had to take some serious looks at what we were going to do. So here's what happened. So we downsized, which was a shit show in the time that it was happening. It turned out amazing and the gym is perfect and it's exactly what it needed to be. But in that time we were also like, well, we need to learn how to do marketing. And that was something we'd never had to do. And so as we went through this, we started with one guy that helps us with marketing and it just wasn't really in alignment. And then we started with another company and, we had been with that company till just a couple weeks ago. So, the idea was you run 6-week challenges. So I don't care where you guys live. There's probably a gym in your area running 6-week challenges, right? And so the idea with this challenge was that the challenge is free, and it was free in that people would come in, they would put down a deposit, whether it was $500 or $600, to bet on themselves. And then once they made it through the end, the goal was weight loss. So if they lost 25 pounds or 6% body fat, they would get their money back. Right. And it worked sort of. So I'm gonna tell you why sort of. So we had, probably about 120 people that did this. We started in like January of 2018. And it was amazing and it brought new people into our gym and I got our name out there and like people got amazing results, right? Like seriously amazing results if what you care about is weight loss. So, we ran with that for a while. It was awesome. We got people in the door that probably never would have walked in because they thought CrossFit was scary and yada, yada, yada. But now we're going to fast forward and now we're in November of a year and a half later. And the reality is that challenges don't work. Okay. So obviously I had a big transition. So let's back up for a second. So we were running challenges. It was amazing. But here's the crazy thing. People would lose 25 pounds. They would lose 6% body fat in 6 weeks. Like that's a lot. Hey, Rosie, like, that's a lot of weight. And then they'd stick around for a couple months and they got inconsistent and they stopped showing up and they stopped doing whatever. And then they would quit. And like, as a human being, my goal in what we do is to help people. And so having somebody do really well and only stick it out for a couple weeks, a couple months maybe, and then quit, like that was heartbreaking, like truly heartbreaking. And so what we started to understand, and a lot of you guys know that I got back into my disordered eating and kind of fell in that funk of where I was doing it. At that point, I found Hunger for Happiness and I was like, you know what, this isn't working. Like I'm searching for something, and all these people are searching for something that we're not able to provide them. So I want to know what that is and how to help them. So finish Hunger for Happiness in April. And here's the thing. We all think, myself included, that when we get an external result, we're going to feel differently and somehow life is going to be different. And it's not true. So that's the sad part, is that do some things change? Do you feel healthier? Possibly. Like, do you feel better about yourself? Yeah, there are good things that come from that. But when you think, and this is the problem that I did for 25 years of chasing that perfect body, was like, well, if I get X, then I can have Y, right? So like the challenge got people to be like, if I lose weight, then I'll be happy. Then I'll be whatever. Then I'll be loved. Then I'll be worthy. Then I'll be whatever, right? Like subconsciously, we don't know that's what we're chasing, right? But that's what the truth of the matter is. And over the last year and a half, almost 2 years now, like it's been really, really challenging for us to see so many people come in the door. And I did almost every like meeting with new people to get them started, and to have people sit across the table from me and say, this is what I want. This is why I want it. I'm going for it. I'm all freaking in. And like 2 weeks later, they're out, right? And they're not doing it anymore, and they're not showing up for themselves, and they're not whatever. And it's like, the reason is because that external thing is not enough motivation. It's not enough motivation when you're sore. It's not enough motivation when it's cold. It's not enough motivation where life gets hard. It's just not enough freaking motivation. So what we have learned is that like the last thing I want you guys to do is to go all freaking in, right? Like you want the perfect body, but you love food. But Rosie, that's not actually what's happening. But we'll talk about that. But like, what we want you guys to do is stop going all in. Stop saying, I'm going to do a challenge, right? Like everybody wants to do challenges. And it's like, why do you want to do a challenge? Well, mostly because you think it's going to get you a desired result that's going to get you a desired feeling that probably does or doesn't happen. And even if it happens, it doesn't last. You're setting yourself up on deadlines, right? Because you're like, well, if that's how I have to eat, I don't want to eat like that, but could I do it for 30 days? Sure, but where is that getting you, right? Because what happens on the other side of the 30 days? You go back to what you were doing because you're like, that was no fun. I had no life. This wasn't cool. I don't want to do this, right? And so people go all in and then they go all out. And that is like the worst thing you could do for yourself. I'd rather you do nothing than go all in because you're going to end up going all out. We've done this for 10 years. I've seen this a multitude of times. But what we have seen, and this is why we're doing our shift program, and this is why my belief in this world is that I'm not letting anybody go all in. I'm not letting you sit in front of me and say, I haven't worked out for 6 months and I'm going to come every day. No, you're not. I'm not going to let you because you're going to fail, right? So what if you just said, okay, I want to change my life. I don't care if it's your body, your life, your romance, your business, like whatever it is. I'm going to get really clear on the outcome, right? Not the goal, but the outcome. What do I want to have happen? How do I want to feel? Who do I get to be? And then you get to decide that like that thing may be right here, but you get to be that person. You get to have that feeling. You get to create that outcome in your body right now. Right freaking now. And it doesn't matter if the money changes or your body changes or any of that stuff changes because you get to create that. But guess what? When you create that from here, then all that stuff is easy, right? Like it gets to be easy because you get to say, okay, well, if I want to love the way I feel and I want to love the way I show up in the world, these are the things that I get to do them, right? I talked yesterday about living in fear, and it's like, I'm so passionate about like, don't ever do another challenge. Don't ever go all in. What we want to teach you and what I know to be true is that people that have showed up in my gym because they wanted to feel better, they wanted to be healthier, they wanted to know what their body could do, and they wanted to be strong. Those people have been with us for 8 years because it's not about a number on a scale, and it's not about that external thing that they think is going to get them that feeling, but it's about how do I want to be, who do I want to show up as, and what do I get to do every day so that I can be that person. So that's what I want you guys to really lean into. So a lot of you follow Rachel Hollis. I love her. She does her last 90 days thing, right? Because guess what, you guys? New Year's resolutions are coming. And it probably doesn't feel like the one you did last year was that different, right? And again, I don't care if it's weight loss, building your business, whatever. Like, how many of us start to get into October, November, and we're like, I'm just going to kind of throw in the towel, let's see what happens. I'll do it again in January. And it doesn't work, because like there's no magic about January, right? And so what I want you guys to think about is these questions. Is if I, right now, October to the end of the year, right? If I took 3 months and I just shifted one, maybe two things a day or a week. Like, what if you just shifted, right? What if you just spent 5 minutes doing breath work and breathing, right? Like, what if you showed up to the gym, I don't know, like twice a week instead of never? What if you ate one more vegetable a day than you're eating right now? And what if you did that consistently for 3 months? Where would you be? You'd be in a different place. And so what I want you guys to do is I want you to think about, what does life feel like when you make small shifts? Okay? That's our program. It's small shifts. And understanding that when you start to shift one thing, other things will also change, right? Like we want to live in this box where like, well, if I go for this goal, weight loss, exercise, whatever, all this other stuff falls away, right? And it doesn't work, right? Like that's why we have 4 components: nourishment, movement, emotionality, and feeling and understanding and being with yourself, and focus, which is like, what is this thing doing? Because it's running the show, right? How do we get out of this? How do we get into our body? And how do we actually shift? So as we go into fall, I want you guys to think about, how do you want to feel at Christmas? How do you want to feel on December 31st, right? Do you want to feel like, I should have, could have, would have, right? Or do you get to not go all in, not make this crazy change, not do any of that, but say, you know what? This is how I want to be and this is how I want to show up. And I'm going to commit this week to getting up 5 minutes early and breathing. Just breathing, right? Seriously, you guys, we had a conversation today with one of our athletes of just when stress levels are crazy. Do this with me. If you're not driving, just let your shoulders relax. Let the tension go. Take 3 deep breaths. You do that for 5 minutes every single day, your life will change. Your calm will change. Your peace of mind will change. Your anxiety will change. Like your life will change if you can just do that. So that's my invitation to you. Take 5 minutes a day in the morning, before you go to bed, whatever, and just breathe. Sit in your car before you go into work if it stresses you out, and breathe. It's nothing crazy, but like getting to change those little things will change everything. So my invitation is this week until next Monday, take 5 minutes to breathe. Just breathe and see what happens. And then I really want you to think of like, what is the outcome you want to have at the end of this year? You have plenty of time to get there. What is the outcome? How can you do it in a way that feels easy, that feels like you're in flow, that feels like you're not hustling, and that feels like it's a way you want to show up every day? Okay? So I want you to think about that. I want you to implement that. And like I said, we're going to roll out Shift in the beginning of the year. It is the farthest thing from a New Year's resolution, but to make sure that we get it done and give you guys time to actually show up for yourselves, it's coming in January. So I would love to hear what else you feel like you want to shift. And I want you to think about, where in your life have you gone all in that's caused you to go all out, okay? So I love you guys. Thank you for listening. And for any of you that did our 6-week challenge and you're still here, which there are like 35 of you, you guys are the bomb, because you weren't searching for that external thing, but you actually learned that like it felt good to feel good. So think about, what would it be like if it was easy? What would it be like if you showed up for yourself to be the version of yourself that you want to be? And what's one thing you can do today to do that? So I love you guys. Thank you. And I'll talk to you soon.